My own personal experience with NoFap has definitely been a tug of war. A tug of war on whether to keep that testosterone inside of me and to hold on to that semen retention. To ignore the desperate urges from my body that tell me to masturbate. I speak for many men out there. How do we make this tug of war easier so that we can keep this energy inside our body and harvest it and use it for something beneficial towards our goals, our ambitions, and our dreams? The key to it all is exposure. As a man, your mind is automatically going to throw at you memories of when you had sex with a girl and how good it felt. It's also going to throw at you memories of when you looked at a specific type of porn video. This is all exposure that's being demonstrated by your mind and what's within in your hormone monster. It can also come from various different media outlets outside, like Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, from celebrities or people you don't know or people you've seen in public. It can come from many different things, but the most dangerous type is the one that comes from internal, from your mind. The best and easiest way to win at NoFap is by stopping any and all sexual exposure that comes to you in your mind. Guys fail on NoFap mostly because they get too much sexual exposure from within and from their mind. And that exposure can start from something on the outside too, right? Like with different media outlets, from seeing a hot girl or whatever it is in public. Once a man has too much exposure in his mind, what he ends up doing is he starts overthinking. And once he overthinks, he eventually just comes to the conclusion and convinces himself that he needs to masturbate to relieve his tension and to relieve all those urges. I just told you how the game plan is. Now, how do we stop being convinced by this exposure that's coming to us and within our minds? Now you know the pattern that makes men fail on NoFap. And now that you know the pattern, once you get your first sexual urge from within an old porn video you knew or a hot girl or whatever, you have to immediately shut your mind down as soon as you get that first urge. You have to stop thinking about anything and everything temporarily and only focus on what's in front of you. You have to literally live in the moment. As you're driving, you see a stop sign, just focus on that sign, focus on the road, focus on everything, and don't think about anything. Your mind is shut down and it's totally blank and you're just not thinking about a single thing. Live in the moment and only pay attention to what's going on around you and what's in front of you. If you're in your room and you start getting those urges from within and it comes to your mind, just get up and immediately start cleaning your room, start doing homework, start doing whatever it is to get your mind off of that and shut down your mind and just leave it blank. It's kind of surprising how many people have never truly shut down their mind and have like blanked out their mind totally. I've never done it for one, so this is something totally new to me and I totally understand how weird it can be because I'm a thinker. And a lot of you men are thinkers too, but it's necessary and it's what you have to do in order to conquer this and to become successful at this. And once you start doing it, it's weird too. I noticed this. Once you focus on what's in front of you and you live in the moment, it almost feels like you have a boost of adrenaline that suddenly just comes to you, right? So for example, if you're like focusing on doing homework and you're just blanking out your mind, I feel like I do homework faster, or when I'm editing my videos, I feel like I'm editing my videos faster. I don't know, it just feels like a boost of adrenaline finally comes in and just helps me out because I'm totally blanking my mind and I'm redirecting that energy towards what I'm doing and what's in front of me in the moment. This is amazing because you're literally using that sexual energy that comes from within in your mind and redirecting it towards your goals and your dreams and your passions. That's literally what you're doing. Get used to totally shutting down those sexual influences you have coming from the outside and from the inside. Sometimes the problem is that you're thinking too much. And for all you men out there in NoFap, all of you are extremely powerful and critical thinkers, right? So sometimes the problem is you just thinking too much. Don't think too much and let those sexual urges come into your mind and convince you to masturbate, to ease your tension and your burden. You're a thinker, but you gotta know when to shut your brain down and to finally live in the moment. You have to recognize the pattern as to why you're failing at NoFap and why you're masturbating again and again. And later on in this video, I'll have other successful tips on how to beat NoFap, right? And how to conquer it and be successful at it. But this is all necessary for beating that addiction. Masturbation is an addiction. And whenever you have an addiction, you have that addiction because you're using it to replace a hole you have in your heart. Or you're using it to release all the tension and relieve all that stress you have in life and to finally feel like you escape for a moment. When you're masturbating and you're building up that sexual tension, that sexual energy, all the way to climax, right? And when you finally ejaculate, your problems all disappear for a moment. When your eyes roll into the back of your head, you're not thinking about your problems at all. It's an addiction you've had since you were like 12 years old. Imagine being addicted to alcohol or cocaine since you were 12 years old. That's why it's so hard for all men out there to quit it, because you literally have had this addiction since you were at a young age. And with this situation or any other intense addiction you have out there, that's why just telling yourself you're gonna quit and you're gonna get over it and you're gonna better yourself doesn't work. When you do this addiction, you have an intense feeling of euphoria. You have a lot of pleasure that comes to your brain and dopamine activates, and it makes you feel like you've escaped from your problems and the world just got better for just a few moments. It helps you fill in that hole in your heart. So instead of saying you're just gonna quit, you have to replace that intense feeling of euphoria with something else that gives you an intense feeling of euphoria. And no, don't pick up another bad habit like drugs or drinking or alcohol to replace that, right? You want to pick up a good and healthy habit that can give you an intense feeling of euphoria. Two of the best activities out there that actually are linked to a lot of research and give you a lot of intense feelings of euphoria are music and meditation. And when you pair those together, it gives you an amazing and intense feeling of euphoria. And it's just good for your mind and your soul and your body. Pair that with keeping your brain away from sexual influences that pop into your mind and within, and you'll be golden. And here's another activity too. I promise you, if you start getting those sexual urges from within and from your mind, if you just go outside and you literally just go on sprints and you start sprinting, that is linked to having euphoric cells activate and giving you euphoria too. I promise you, if you're out there sprinting on the pavement, you will lose thought of all those sexual urges and all those impulses coming from within. Just go outside, go sprint, and it'll take your mind off of it. Take in these tips and this advice. You are powerful enough to harness your sexual energy and to use it for your own good, to use it for your journey of life and for your goals and your dreams. Replace that hole in your heart with something that gives you intense and good and healthy euphoria, not fake euphoria. Don't ever give up and always keep going and going and trying. You will reach there, I promise. Go ahead and like this video. Go ahead and comment down below how you struggle with NoFap and what you do and what your techniques and tips are. It could really help someone out who's looking in the comments and trying to find a way to better themselves, right? And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Other than that, be safe.